I lost 40 pounds on a plant-based diet, and I am leaner and stronger today in my mid-30s than I was my entire 20s. I spent my entire 20s trying to eat fully raw and lose weight after my pregnancies. I started dieting probably like my mid to late teens, and I basically didn't stop. I was constantly scrolling for some kind of quick fix, and I genuinely thought that my metabolism was broken. Now I'm confident, I can walk around in crop tops, I can play with my kids, my joints don't ache. And yeah, I still have like a ton of mental health issues, who doesn't? But the confidence that I built and the trust that I built in myself from losing the 40 pounds and then being able to keep them off now for the past 6 years has also helped me to build a business. It's helped me to have better relationships with the people in my lives. It's helped me to meet amazing people, build some like financial freedom for my family, which is after us like basically being on the government benefit. And actually 2 weeks ago, even move countries. I'm talking to you now from Austin, Texas. We just moved here 2 weeks ago. I would never have had the confidence to do this, from New Zealand by the way, if it wasn't for everything that losing weight was the catalyst for. So if I could go back in time and I could tell the girl who was scrolling Tumblr for thinspo, or the exhausted mum, me, nearly gagging over another spirulina smoothie, let me know in the comments if you used to get on the spirulina train. It is the most disgusting thing I have ever tasted. It tastes like the sea vomited and they like dehydrated their vomit and then you put it in a smoothie. It's like literally the most disgusting thing on the planet. Anyway, if I could go back in time and I could tell that girl, me, how to lose weight quicker and easier and actually keep those results, these are the 8 rules that I would tell her to live by, and these are the things I still do every single day. Okay, but listen up, like come a little bit closer. Before I share those 8 things, this is the paradox of weight loss, and this is the secret that most people don't understand and why they stay stuck. In order to get long-term results, which is that you lose weight and you keep it off, that you stop dieting for life, which is possible by the way, you must simultaneously beat hunger while also eating less calories. And so pretty much all the diets that I did in the past failed me because I understood that first part, which is that I had to eat less, but I didn't understand that going hungry was sabotaging my consistency, and I would always end up binging, which meant that I would eat more calories than if I had never been dieting in the first place. Because you can easily have a 5,000, 10,000 calorie binge over a weekend, or even for dessert, which is why most people who diet actually end up gaining weight rather than consistently losing. Me. I did that for 10 years. I'm the problem. It's me. Let me know in the comments if you've experienced this too. And can I ask you a question right now? Do you genuinely want long-term results? Do you genuinely want to build behavior and habits that mean that you never have to diet again? Genuinely. Because if you do, then it is going to be so different from every other diet you have tried in the past. And you're going to need to warp the weight loss paradox by eating less calories consistently for the rest of your life. But also stuffing your frickin' face so that you don't have to deal with hunger. And that is possible and enjoyable, which is why I'm still here. So these 8 habits are going to help you to do just that. By the way, please stick around to the end because I'm going to share more of the concepts of why these work, which is just as important as actually the rules. Habit number 1 is to always eat a filling breakfast and to eat it at a consistent time. This is going to help you to build routine, but most importantly, it's going to help you to feel full and satisfied throughout your day so that you actually eat less food towards the end of your day. This is going to help you to curb binging. Now, I know you've probably heard to wait until you're hungry. Maybe you're doing some intermittent fasting. Maybe you're not even hungry at the morning. I don't care. Throw that out. It hasn't worked in the past unless you're at your goal weight right now. That's what I mean by it hasn't worked in the past. If you're not at your goal weight, if you're not sustainably maintaining your weight loss, then nothing you have done has worked, even if it got you some kind of results and then you gained weight back. That didn't work, okay? It never worked. We're gonna start to build some routines. We're gonna start with breakfast, make it very filling. I do oats. This is probably one of the best things that you can do. You could also do potatoes. You could do anything that has a lot of fiber in it. I love oats and I put some protein powder in there. I use a lot of fruit to kind of bulk it out a lot more. I eat quite a lot of it. I put soy milk and I put flax for some fiber and omegas. And then whether I'm hungry or not, I always eat my breakfast. And this breakfast as well is the same thing whether I'm traveling, whether I'm here in the States, whether I'm at home in New Zealand, whether I've stayed the night at a friend's house, whether it's Christmas Day. Like, I eat a consistent breakfast because I want to set up my day with fiber and fullness so my consistency stays higher. Habit number 2 is to eat potatoes every freaking day. White potatoes orange potatoes, red potatoes, sweet potatoes, kumara, whatever you want to call them. Potatoes are actually the most satisfying foods on the planet, and they're also very low in calories. They're about 400 calories per pound. When you put into perspective, bread, it's about 1400 calories. Peanut butter is like 2,800 calories per pound. Pasta is about 700 calories per pound once cooked. Rice is about the same. So when you actually look at the comparison of potatoes to pretty much every other filling food, it's the lowest calorie. And it has the highest satiety index, which means that you get fullest on the least amount of food. So potatoes is one of the best things to actually break that paradox of filling plus low calorie. So you can actually almost like gorge yourself on potatoes, which is what I have done for the past 6 years, and still lose weight because you can't overeat on them. Well, you can, but it's very, very hard to do so. You think about how easy it is to sit down with a tub of Ben & Jerry's if you're depressed. Heck, I've been crying all the time lately. I could demolish probably 2 tubs of Ben & Jerry's, which would work out to over 3,000 calories. Even to eat a third of that, like 1,000 calories of potatoes, you would have to stuff your face with 2.5 pounds of potatoes. That's like 8-9 potatoes. That's a lot of potatoes. And at that point, you're gonna be so full that you won't be able to eat anything else for hours and hours. Potatoes are like a natural overeating safety net, and they also help you to stay full for a long period of time. So I make sure that I eat them every day, and when I leave the house, I always have them. They are a priority in all my meals, to the point where even if I'm making a pasta, I will grate sweet potato into the sauce. If I'm making like a stir fry or something where I'm gonna have with rice, because I know rice is not as filling, I'm gonna put potatoes like in my stir fry. I'm gonna put potatoes in my curry. I'm gonna put potatoes in the pasta sauce of a macaroni cheese, which doesn't have cheese, it just has carrots and potatoes. That's still great, tastes great. At this point, if you were to cut me open, you would find broccoli on this half and then potatoes on this half, because of how many pounds of them I have eaten over the past 6 years. I used to be potato phobic, probably like most women, but it truly is like one of the best things that you can eat for fat loss. So please eat this every single freaking day. Put a potato in the comments if you're going to do that and comply. Thank you very much. Gold star for you. There you go. Habit number 3 is a 3 thing, and that is that you are going to eat 3 big meals a day. I'm not saying you can't snack, but you're going to make meals big enough so that you actually can not think about food between meals. And I'll tell you why when we get to the concepts part of this. It's all about building routine and habits, but we really want to eliminate hunger from our thought process day to day. You don't want to be out and about and be thinking like, I really need to have some chips because I'm a bit peckish, or be looking in the cupboard and thinking, well, what can I eat, and grabbing a handful of nuts, which is probably 500 calories anyway, if we're honest. You want to eat a lot of food at your meals, and if you need to snack, then snack on vegetables and snack on fruit. And by the way, I do have dessert, so I don't count that as one of my meals. But eat big, not small. Number 4 is to put half vegetables on your plate for 2 of your meals. So I'm not going to do breakfast, you can if you want, but lunch and dinner is going to be about like half a pound to a pound of non-starchy vegetables. These could be snap peas, it could be a mix of grated carrots, cherry tomatoes, it could be broccoli. I will pretty much always have some kind of cooked non-starchy vegetable like broccoli because they are more filling. Again, you'll see a filling theme coming in here. I want to eat a large amount of food, and so having half vegetables, which are very, very low in calories, the lowest calorie food on the planet, means that I can bulk out my meals and eat more food than people who look at me think that I should be able to eat, and still be in that weight loss zone, still be reducing the calories from someone who's maybe even a little tiny sandwich or a donut. I had to learn that the volume of food I could see didn't have anything to do with the calories. You can go to Starbucks right now and order a drink that is going to be 600 calories. You could also sit down with a massive salad that had potato, vegetables, hummus, lentils, the kind of meals that I make, and that would be under 500 calories. You want bulk when you're losing weight, and you're going to get that from adding a ton of vegetables. Bonus, they also have a ton of micronutrients and other helpful things for your body, so win-win. The 5th habit that we're going to do every day is actually stop cooking with oil and actually stop eating oil as much as possible. I have a little bit in the hummuses that I buy, but that's it. Why? Because oil is very, very high calorie and it's very low volume, which means that you can overeat in terms of calories extremely quickly. And even in a tablespoon of oil, if you're sauteing some broccoli, could be more calories than the broccoli itself, plus you're not going to feel any extra fullness. Eliminating oil from your diet can save you thousands of calories each week, if not more, like tens of thousands of calories, depending on how much oily food you eat. Oil is not a health food. I keep coming back to this resistance that people have to stop having oils, especially healthy oils like olive oil. The thing is that oil is just a compressed or refined version of a whole food. You take something like olives, which are great. You remove the most helpful element to weight loss, which is water and fiber, because they don't have calories, and then you're left with a purely caloric product. Oil is to fat what sugar is to carbohydrates. It's a refined product. You can still have fat in your diet. I'm not saying that you can't. You should still have fat in your diet. It doesn't need to come from the most refined version. Just like you can have carbohydrates in your diet, and it doesn't need to come from refined white sugar. It can come from fruit and potatoes and pasta and rice and vegetables. You can have fats come from avocados and nuts and seeds and tofu and all the other things that actually still contain fat. Mind blowing, I know. You do not need oil if you are trying to lose weight. That was very satisfying. Number 6 is going to be more unusual. We're going to move down the kind of unusualness list, and this is to not have a cutoff for when you stop eating. Sounds a bit contradictory because I said eat 3 meals a day. What I mean by that is eat 3, not 4. I always do wrong amounts of fingers. 3 big meals. But when it comes to actually stopping eating, I think it's very helpful to not put that pressure on yourself that you have to stop if you are still hungry. And here's why. When you think that a meal is going to be your last supper, when you think that if you are hungry, you aren't going to be able to eat more, it creates this kind of panic cycle. And when I first started my weight loss journey, it took me so long to get through this, to even feeling a little bit hungry after a meal, like was a trigger for me from all the restrictions I'd had in the past. And I actually spent a good year or more really eating more than what I do now in terms of volume, so I could heal that part of me. And maybe you've experienced this where if you think, hey, like I need to stop eating by 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. on the intermittent fasting kind of route, if you know that you're eating your dinner and that's the last thing that you're going to eat, it's very easy to be like, okay, well, I better really save up and savor everything and eat as much as I can because I'm not going to be able to eat later. I have gotten so much more in tune with my hunger and fullness cues by not having any kind of rule on myself. And this is especially in the beginning because, again, when trying to help ourselves realize that we can eat the right kinds of foods when we're hungry and not being so slavish to hunger. So eat as much as you want to eat, get comfortably stuffed. But if you want to eat more later, like you can eat more. You can snack on fruit. You can have another potato. You can go back for seconds. You do not have to put rules on yourself in the beginning of your weight loss around hunger and around portions because it truly will backfire. And if you're really honest, you've probably seen that happen for yourself many times. So if you want to have a different outcome, you've got to have different inputs. Number 7 is to walk as much as you can. This is like a really fun one. And the easiest way to do this is just to not rely on your car. So if I'm trying to like go to a cafe or I'm trying to like get to a place, I will try to think, well, could I walk there? And if it's a little bit further away, could I even bike there? So I'm intentionally trying to move my body to get to places. And I like this because it feels more rewarding to have like an A to B than it is to just walk for the sake of walking. But having a step goal is also great. I like to park like quite far away from the gym when I'm there, so that I am forced to walk. I'll take the stairs rather than the elevator. Basically just creating this environment for yourself where you are able to move your body more because it's going to help you to burn more calories, which means that you can also eat more or you can lose weight faster. It's also just really good for you. Number 8 is probably my favorite one. This is much more conceptual, and that is to create routines for yourself. So everything that I've described to you today are things that I can do every single day. And I'm going to share a little story about why this is so important. I was talking to a friend of mine last week who was on a weight loss journey, and she was saying how she wanted to do some kind of fast, or she was asking if there was like some like really low calorie product that she could eat for maybe like 3 days and it would kind of reset her. And what I was trying to explain to her is that everything that you do day to day needs to be something that you can conceivably do for the rest of your life. Like that is how you shift from short-term results to long-term results, is you stop thinking about, well, how can I get the outcome that I want as quickly as I can? And instead ask yourself this question: if I was to do X every single day for a year or 2 or 3 or 4, would it be reasonable at that point for me to be at my goal? And could I do that? So we flip the switch on our behavior, because if we can do something every single day and we can build routine, then what we're going to do is we're going to replace our current habits, which have led us to where we are today, with habits today that are going to lead us to where we are tomorrow. And the way that our brains build habits is through repetition and routine. So if you're going to do something that you can't keep doing, that is very, very difficult, that is not set into routine, you are not going to have enough repetitions to replace your current habits. You're never going to actually change long term. So the concept behind all of these rules that I've shared with you today are things that you want to set and forget. So I always think about, if my inputs are solid, what I do every single day, my habits, my behavior, then my outputs will follow. It's kind of like that story of the golden goose, where the goose is laying eggs every single day, golden eggs, and then the farmer and his wife are wanting to get rich as quickly as they can, so they kill the goose, and there's nothing inside it except blood and guts and all the other gross stuff. Poor goose, like that is sad. Had they thought, hey, if I was to have this behavior and this habit, this input, which is that the goose is healthy and it lays eggs every single day, golden eggs, where could I be in a year's time? So I need to focus on my inputs, my behavior, my habits, my routines, much more than the outputs. Outputs will always follow the inputs. Routine basically means that you do the same thing consistently, you do it at the same time, you have the same triggers. So that's why I'm saying eat a consistent breakfast at a consistent time. You can see how you can get more repetition, and it's easier to put that on autopilot than if you were to just eat when you were hungry and to eat something different every single day, because then you're not building those repetition reps, which means that you can build habits, which means that it goes on autopilot, which means that you don't need motivation, which means that it can replace the habits that you currently have. I know this sounds complicated, but that's just how it works. I mean, hopefully that sounds easy when I explain it that way. I'm always thinking to myself, if I want to build new behavior, I need to put something on autopilot so that I don't have to think. Which is why when you have rules and routines for yourself, like I will eat potatoes at lunch every day, which is what I do. I will always have vegetables at 2 of my meals, which is what I do. I will always have broccoli every day, which is what I do. I will always park further away from the gym. I will always get my steps in. You don't have to encounter decision fatigue, loss of motivation, and then giving up, because you set it once, you decide once what you're going to do, you make it as easy as possible, you set it into your routine, and then your only job is to just implement. And then most importantly, eliminating hunger as that factor, because you can never out willpower hunger. Not long term. People sell all their possessions, they commit heinous crimes, they will betray family members for food if they are hungry enough. So don't think that you're the exception to this. You cannot beat it, you must work with it. It is there to keep you alive. And the cool thing is that unprocessed food is actually perfectly designed for you to eat as much as you want and still lose weight. The reason that we have the epidemic of obesity and people being overweight that we do today is that we have a predictable response, weight gain, to an unnatural environment, which is that we just have more calories in our world than we are designed to have. And they're delicious, so we eat them. I hope that you found that helpful. Let me know in the comments which of these 8 rules you are going to implement. I'm very aware that if you watch my channel, this is extremely repetitive. It is extremely repetitive because it's the same thing. I don't have anything new. This is what it is. But let me know if you're actually going to implement it this time and not just watch another video. And by the way, if you need more help and you want my exact framework that helped me to lose 40 pounds, I put that all into a neat little bundle, into a free course for you and a community. So check that out in the description and join completely free. That's it from me. I am going to go get some steps in, and I will see you next week for another video. All right.